Gentlemen, the injectors are in, the appropriate ECU is in and working, and that's something I will explain at a later date. Fuel pump is in. It's time to see what it does with enough fuel and everything else to back it up, and we'll go over the data logs possibly when we're done. Exciting. Okay, boys and girls, welcome to the after show. Here's where we go over some of the things that we saw in the video for the more intellectual types, people that don't just want to see the dyno pulls, so that's why we get them over with out of the way first. And I'll just go ahead and rip open this data log quick for the first hit, which I had noted was super rich. It was just coughing on fuel. It was really rich the entire time. And the ignition scaling kind of sucked down low. It had a little bit too much in it, but you know, it had so much fuel in it, it was dying anyway. So we wound that thing all the way out. It was rich the whole way out. So what I ended up doing was trimming a bit of fuel. Let's go over that anyway. Here was the first hit, 323. And then I'm like, dang, why so much ignition? And there's a little bit of ignition breakup up here. Obviously, 499 foot-pounds is not correct. And then here, this was still rich. I trimmed some fuel, and I rescaled my ignition. A little bit too much on the hit. 22 degrees at 2200 RPM is not exactly what I want. And then 27, 28 up top. Still rich, using way too much of the injector. You'll see as we trim it out. That guy, since there was less ignition in it and too much fuel again, it's made even less. Made 316. So I did a drastic fuel change, and I saw mostly 13.0s. Ignition pretty much the same, a little bit too much in it still, but it's on ethanol, so I'm not sweating it. Like, I roll into it and I'm like, oh, that's too much ignition, but I don't stop myself because it's on ethanol. That third hit, looking better for sure. 347, 13.0 air fuel, a little bit too lean still. So we clean that up. Let me turn this guy on none. You can see here how we clean that up big time up top. And then here was number 4, which was almost a 12.5 everywhere. And then 15 on the hit, basically 15 degrees down low here, much better. And then 26 up top, and only about 30% duty cycle. This car right now is on 60% alcohol. And then I enabled my flex spark and messed with a bunch of other stuff and took a whole bunch of timing out accidentally. But what was a neat result of this is I had about 10 down low, because this is supposedly my pump gas safe setup, so 10 down low, and only 20 up top. Now what's funny is this made almost exactly the same power. So that was like a neat eye-opener for me that this car does not really need that much timing in it. So I'm going to revisit. I want to water it down pretty far down on pump gas and check myself on my results here, because mainly it means to me that it's just so efficient that it doesn't need the extra timing. There's really no gain on the ethanol. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what it makes and what it likes spark-wise on pump gasoline. And then these are the last 2 hits. Super conservative, and then this is about 28 up top, and this is 20 up top. Pretty interesting. It did like the additional ignition down low, but not a whole lot. And wow, that was nice. Interesting thing to see here is, let's just number 4 is my runner. It's pretty neat to look at how it does overall. This was the first day that I had dynoed it, and you can see here there is a big difference just getting the fuel in with making the power. The red is me totally lean, and then the blue is a much safer air fuel, like a mid 12. The red is like a mid 14. It's pretty incredible to see the difference. And then this is what it made when it blew up. Yeah, dismal amount down here. Obviously there was a lot of stuff wrong with the engine. One neat thing to overlay real quick is my buddy Burak. These are all pretty consistent. This is a bolt-on, like, headers full exhaust car. So let's take the best one, was number 4, and put it against my number 4. Put it up against engine speed. it is neat to see the comparison, obviously, between a bolt-on 3.5 liter and a, long tube cam stock truck iron 4.8 here. Pretty incredible power difference. Really interesting to see. I'm curious to get back on straight pump gas and see what it likes on straight pump. It's nice to see the Snake Eater 1000s working great. I'm under 30% duty cycle at 7,000 RPM on 60% alcohol. So that means there's a bunch of leg room there if you do the math. The next runner-up is I want to put the nitrous kit on and sauce this thing, and I think I'm going to have a standalone fuel cell built specifically for that. Do some trickery and show you guys that also. But that is all for the overview session here. If you guys have any other questions, let me know, but I think it's pretty fairly well documented on the earlier videos if you have time to watch them. Go ahead.